There is one label in the freezer aisle that has fooled millions of people with type 2 diabetes. It looks safe. It sounds safe. It may even say, "No sugar added" in big letters on the front. But for some older adults, that carton can raise blood sugar faster than the real ice cream they gave up years ago. I am Dr. James Walker, and if you are over 60 and living with type 2 diabetes, I want you to listen closely, because the problem is not always that people are eating too much dessert. Sometimes the real problem is that they were scared away from the wrong foods and pushed toward products that quietly work against them. Maybe you stopped eating ice cream after your diagnosis. Maybe you skipped dessert at your grandchild's birthday party while everyone else enjoyed a bowl. Maybe you stood in the grocery store freezer aisle reading labels until your eyes got tired. And when you finally saw words like diabetic-friendly, sugar-free, light, or low-fat, you thought, this must be the safe one. But this next part is the most important. The front of the package is advertising. The back of the package is where the truth lives. Today, I want to show you 5 better ice cream choices for blood sugar and 3 freezer aisle traps I would be very careful with. I will explain why some options are gentler on blood sugar, why full fat can sometimes behave better than low fat, and why one common sugar-free ingredient can be a real problem for people with diabetes. And stay with me until the end, because the worst product on this list is the one many people with diabetes trust the most. It is often sitting in the freezer right now, and the danger is hidden in one word on the ingredient list. Before we talk about brands and recipes, you need to understand one simple idea. Blood sugar response is not only about how sweet something tastes, it is also about how fast that food leaves the stomach, how much protein and fat it contains, what kind of sweetener is used, and what else is eaten with it. That is why 2 desserts can taste equally sweet, but affect your blood sugar very differently. One may hit fast and hard, another may rise slowly and come down gently. For someone with type 2 diabetes, that difference matters. Real full-fat ice cream often has a slower blood sugar effect than many people expect because it contains fat and dairy protein. Fat slows the emptying of the stomach. Protein helps with fullness and can slow the glucose response. And because ice cream is cold, the stomach has to warm it before digestion moves forward. These things can act like brakes. Now, I am not saying ice cream is a health food. I am not saying you can eat the whole pint. Portion still matters. Your meter still matters. Your doctor's advice still matters. But I am saying this: some diet ice creams are not automatically safer than small portions of better-made, higher protein, lower sugar options. So let us start with the better choices. The 5th better choice is frozen banana soft serve, made at home. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Doctor, bananas have sugar. Yes, they do. That is why portion matters. But when a sliced banana is frozen and blended with the right ingredients, it can become a better dessert than many processed cartons in the freezer aisle. Here is the simple version. Slice 1 small ripe banana. Freeze it until firm. Then blend it with a spoon of natural peanut butter, a little cinnamon, and unsweetened cocoa powder. What you get is creamy, cold, sweet, and satisfying without adding table sugar. The peanut butter adds fat and protein, which helps slow digestion. Cinnamon may support better glucose handling in some people. Cocoa adds rich flavor without needing sugar. And because the banana is frozen, it gives that soft serve texture many people miss. Now, look at this carefully. This does not mean bananas are free food. If your blood sugar runs high, or if you use insulin, test your glucose after trying it. Start with a small serving. Your body is the final judge. A recipe can sound good, but your meter tells the truth. This brings us to the 4th better choice: ice cream sweetened with allulose. Allulose is a newer sweetener that behaves differently from regular sugar. It gives sweetness, but it does not raise blood sugar the same way table sugar does for most people. Some ice creams made with allulose also use real cream, which means you still get the fat break that slows digestion. That combination can be helpful: less sugar impact, more creaminess, and a slower release. But here is the rehook. We have already learned that the right sweetener and the right fat content can change how dessert behaves in the body. In the next section, I want to show you the quick carton option for nights when you do not want a recipe, because this is where many people make the wrong choice. The third better choice is ice cream sweetened with erythritol and stevia. These are common in many lower sugar ice creams. Erythritol is a sugar alcohol that usually has very little blood sugar effect. Stevia comes from a plant and also does not behave like regular sugar. For many people with type 2 diabetes, these can be better options than regular high-sugar ice cream, especially when paired with a creamy base or higher protein. But I want to be honest with you. Some people over 60 get bloating, gas, or stomach upset from sugar alcohols, so do not begin with a giant serving. Start small. A few spoonfuls or a small quarter-cup serving is enough to test your body. If your stomach handles it and your glucose meter responds well, then you have useful information. If your stomach feels upset, that is also information. The second better choice is homemade frozen Greek yogurt. And I want you to hear the word homemade. This is not the same thing as commercial frozen yogurt from a shop or a grocery carton. Those can be loaded with sugar. When you make it at home with full-fat plain Greek yogurt, you control what goes in. Greek yogurt gives protein. Full fat helps slow digestion. The cold texture satisfies the ice cream craving. And if you add berries, vanilla, and a small amount of a lower-impact sweetener, it can feel like dessert without acting like a sugar bomb. Here is a simple version. Use full-fat plain Greek yogurt. Add vanilla. Add a few berries. Add a small amount of allulose or erythritol if needed. Freeze it in a small container and stir it as it firms up. You do not need a fancy machine. You need a better pattern. And this is where portion control becomes easier. Serve it in a small cup, not a large bowl. Many people do better when the serving dish protects them from overeating. That is not weakness. That is wisdom. Now stay with me, because the number one better choice is the one most people laugh at first. Then they try it, and suddenly it makes sense. The best choice on this list is cottage cheese ice cream made at home. Yes, cottage cheese. I know it sounds strange, but when full-fat cottage cheese is blended until completely smooth, then frozen, it becomes creamy and thick, almost like soft serve. The reason it works so well is protein. A small serving of cottage cheese can give far more protein than regular ice cream. Protein slows digestion, helps you feel full, and supports muscle strength. That last part matters after 60 because many older adults are fighting two battles at once: blood sugar control and muscle loss. After 60, the body begins losing muscle faster. Doctors call this sarcopenia. Weak muscles increase the risk of falls, poor balance, and loss of independence. So if a dessert gives you sweetness, creaminess, and protein at the same time, that is a much smarter direction than a low-fat, sugar-heavy carton. Here is the simple recipe. Blend 1 cup of full-fat cottage cheese until smooth. Add vanilla. Add a small amount of allulose or erythritol if you tolerate it. Add a handful of frozen berries if you like. Blend again. Freeze for a couple of hours. Stir once while freezing. Then serve a small portion. That gives you a creamy dessert with more protein, fewer carbs than many commercial ice creams, and better fullness. Again, check your own glucose. Do not guess. Test. Your body's response is more important than any label or recipe. Now we need to turn the carton around and talk about the 3 worst choices. This is the part that may protect you more than the safe list, because avoiding the wrong product can make a big difference. The third product to avoid is low-fat, fat-free, light or skinny ice cream. This sounds backward, because many older adults were told for years that fat-free means healthier. But with ice cream, removing fat can create a blood sugar problem. When manufacturers remove fat, the product often loses creaminess and flavor. To make it taste good again, they may add more sugar or starches, so now the dessert has less of the fat that slows digestion and more of the carbohydrate that can raise blood sugar. That is not a better deal for someone with type 2 diabetes. It may be lower in calories, but blood sugar does not only care about calories, it cares about speed, ingredients, and total glucose load. Here is the simple freezer door rule. If the front says light, fat-free, low-fat, or skinny, do not trust the front. Turn it around. Check the sugar, total carbs, and ingredients before it goes in your cart. The second product to avoid is commercial frozen yogurt. This one has fooled people for years because it sounds healthy. Yogurt sounds better than ice cream. Frozen yogurt shops look clean and light. The toppings look fun, but many commercial frozen yogurts contain a lot of sugar. And when the yogurt is low fat, you lose the slowing effect that full-fat dairy can provide. Then people add granola, candy, chocolate drizzle, fruit syrups, and sweet toppings. What began as a healthy choice can become a very high-sugar dessert. This does not contradict what I said about homemade Greek yogurt. Homemade, full-fat Greek yogurt with controlled ingredients is one thing. A commercial frozen yogurt cup with sugar and toppings is another thing entirely. Now, this next part is the most important warning in the whole video. The worst choice is not always the sweetest-looking one. Sometimes the worst choice is the one that says sugar-free. The number one product to avoid is sugar-free or no sugar-added ice cream sweetened with maltitol. Maltitol is a sugar alcohol, but it does not behave like erythritol for many people. It can raise blood sugar much more than people expect. And because the carton says sugar-free, people often eat more of it. That is the trap. The label gives permission. The ingredient causes trouble. Someone thinks they are being careful, but their glucose meter tells a different story. Maltitol can also cause bloating, gas, diarrhea, and dehydration, especially when people eat too much. For older adults, dehydration is not a small issue. It can make blood sugar harder to manage and can make you feel weak, dizzy, or unwell. So here is the 5-second label check. Pick up the carton, turn it around, look at the first few ingredients. If you see maltitol, maltitol syrup, or sorbitol, put it back. You do not need to debate it in the aisle. Let me bring all of this together clearly. Ice cream is not one single thing. A small bowl of full-fat ice cream, a homemade Greek yogurt dessert, a cottage cheese ice cream, a low-fat sugar-heavy carton, and a maltitol sugar-free product are not the same food. They may all sit in the freezer aisle, but they do not behave the same way in your body. The goal is not to bring guilt back into your life. The goal is to bring wisdom back. If you have type 2 diabetes, you do not need to live afraid of every spoonful, but you do need to understand labels, portions, timing, and your own glucose response. Here is what I want you to do today. Go to your freezer. Pull out anything that says sugar-free, no sugar added, light, fat-free, low-fat, or skinny. Turn it around and read the ingredients. If you see maltitol or maltitol syrup, do not treat it like a safe diabetes food. Then choose one better option to try this week. Cottage cheese ice cream, homemade Greek yogurt, a small portion of an allulose-sweetened ice cream, a stevia and erythritol option you tolerate, or the frozen banana soft served with peanut butter and cocoa. But please do this carefully. Start with a small serving. Check your blood sugar before and after if you monitor at home. Notice how you feel. Do not adjust insulin, metformin, or any diabetes medication based on a dessert video. Medication changes must go through the doctor who knows your full medical history. And if your blood sugar is poorly controlled, if your A1C is high, if you use insulin, or if you have kidney disease, speak with your doctor or dietitian before making regular changes to your desserts. Your safety comes first. Before you leave, tell me in the comments which one is in your freezer right now. Sugar-free, no sugar added, light, frozen yogurt, or regular full-fat ice cream. I want to know what people are actually buying because that helps me make videos that solve real problems, not textbook problems. And share this with someone who has type 2 diabetes and thinks sugar-free always means safe. They may not need another lecture. They may simply need to turn the carton around and read one word. I am Dr. James Walker. Take care of your blood sugar, protect your strength, and remember this, the safest choice is not always the one with the loudest label. Sometimes it is the one you understand best.